Okay, let us start with today's session. Good afternoon to everyone. In the last session, we have started with the scheduling algorithms. Before that, we have discussed about some scheduling criterias and some schedulers types, right? Short term, medium term, long term schedulers we have discussed. Then we have discussed about the scheduling criterias. Then we moved in the scheduling algorithms from which we have started first come first serve scheduling algorithm, isn't it? So in which also we have solved one or two numericals. We will be solving one more with the same pattern and one with the different one, and then we will move towards the next scheduling algorithm. So the problem given here is the given data is the process IDs are given, arrival time for that particular process is given, and the execution time, which is also called as the burst time, right? So burst time is given. And it has been asked to draw a Gantt chart using FCFS algorithm, calculate the turnaround time, waiting time for each process, and also the average turnaround time and average waiting time for the system, right? So to draw the Gantt chart, what we have to do now, we know we have to deal with the FCFS algorithm, first come first serve algorithm. So we are not dealing with the comparison between the execution time or the burst time, right? We are not doing anything with this column. We just have to check who has arrived the first according to the arrival time column. So if you can observe this chart, 0 1 2 3, they are in a sequential manner only. So we'll start drawing the Gantt chart. I hope this is visible. So at 0 time slot, the P1 process has arrived, isn't it? So P1 has arrived at 0 time unit, and the P1 process has the access of CPU till the total 10 time millisecond time or the total unit time. The execution time for the P1 process is total 10. So up to 10, the CPU will be allocated to the P1 process only, isn't it? So after this P1, so even though at time interval 1, the P2 has arrived in the ready queue, but still we are assigning or we are continuing the execution of the P1 process. Why? Because of the nature of the algorithm that is first come first schedule, right? So whoever has arrived earlier, they have to or that particular process will execute till the entire resources or the CPU will be released by the process itself, right? So the P1 will execute till the 10 time unit slot. Then the second arrival is P2 process. So now at 10 time unit slot, the P2 will come into the CPU and the execution will continue till the 5 time slot. So 10 plus 5 will be 15. Then we'll have P3, which has arrived at second arrival time, but the execution uh, time for this is 8. So 15 plus 8 will be 23. Then we have P4, which has the execution or the burst time is 15, where we have, right? The total execution time for entire processes will be 38. Clear? Gantt chart समझ में आया? This is the Gantt chart for the given problem according to the arrival time of the processes, right? Now what we have to calculate? Now calculate turnaround time and the waiting time. Now what is the formula for turnaround time? Yes, anybody?
Completion time minus arrival time.
Completion time minus arrival time. And waiting time will be
Turnaround time
Tournament time.
minus
Tournament
turnaround
time.
time
plus
minus,
execution time minus
yes,
execution time.
correct, burst time or execution time. So we have to calculate first of all the completion time of each and every process. So we can easily calculate the turnaround time, right? Process. I hope notebook लेके बैठे हो. Start solving in your notebook also. Process. Then we have arrival time. Then execution time, which is already given. Then the completion time. I will write here itself the turnaround time and the waiting time. Fine. Now P1, P2, P3, P4. P1 का क्या है? Arrival time 0, 1, 2, 3. Execution time is 10, 5, 8, 15. What is the completion time for P1?
10.
Yes, it can be easily identified by using the Gantt chart. Completion time of the P1 will be 10 because at 10, P1 has completed and P2 has started. The completion time for the P1 will be 10. P2 completion time will be 15. Yes. And P3 completion time will be 23.
30.
And P4 will be 38. Right. Now, turnaround time. Turnaround time will be completion time of that process minus arrival time. So 10 minus 0 will be 10, 15 minus 1 will be 15, 23 minus 2 will be 21, 38 minus 3 will be 35. Right? कहाँ पे भी अगर आपको कुछ डाउट आ रहा है, so ask me anytime. Okay? I'm continuing by considering you are getting this all the steps. Now, waiting time. How to calculate waiting time? Turnaround time minus burst time. Now, we have already calculated the turnaround time minus waiting time. Minus burst time, right? So, we have already given execution time and we have calculated the turnaround time. So, 10 minus 10 will be 0. 14 minus 5 will be 9. 21 minus 8 will be what?
13.
13.
13.
35 minus 15 will be
8.
20.
eh?
20.
Sorry.
ठीक है, ये बाकी का कैलकुलेशन ठीक है ना? ओके,
Yes.
चलो. So now we have calculated turnaround time as well as the waiting time. Now we have to calculate the average turnaround and average waiting time. So simply for average turnaround time, 10 plus 14 plus 21 plus 35 divided by total processes are 4 and average
20.
waiting time will be 0 plus 9 plus 13 plus 20 divided by 4. So let me know.
20.
Yes. Correct. So millisecond. अगर दिया नहीं है यूनिट कोई भी तो सीधा 20 यूनिट इतना लिखा तो भी चलेगा. Now here average waiting time कितना आया?
10.5.
10.5. Okay.
Yes.
10.5. Is it visible? Everyone?
Yes.
What we
ma'am.
have, yes, what we have followed XCFS algorithm, first come first serve. The simple concept behind this scheduling algorithm is whenever the process arrives in the ready queue, the CPU will be allocated if it is free according to the we can say according to the availability and according to the arrival time of that particular process, the CPU will be allocated to that particular process. or and when the process is executing, so during the execution of that particular process, no any other process can preempt the particular executing process in the CPU. Okay, they don't have any right, or processor doesn't have any right to pause the current execution of any process and to give access to the higher priority process. No, nothing, no any priority, no any एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम कितना है या फिर कब आया है प्रोसेस, या उसका वी कैन से अवेलेबल रिसोर्सेस अगर सारे हैं तो पहले वो रिजॉल्व करो. नो, वी जस्ट हैव टू चेक द अराइवल टाइम. नंबर में आए हैं, अगर फर्स्ट प्रोसेस आया है देन इट विल बी एग्जीक्यूटेड फर्स्ट. द सिंपल थिंग वी हैव टू रिमेंबर. फाइन. Now just complete this, write down in your notebook. We'll take one more efficiency calculation problem and then we will take the next algorithm. The arrival time and burst time for a set of 6 processes are given in the table below. The process ID is given, arrival time is given, and the burst time is given. There are total 6 processes. So if FCFS scheduling algorithm is followed and there is 1 unit of overhead in scheduling the processes, find the efficiency of the algorithm, right? So first of all, what we have to do in this case, the regular process, to draw a Gantt chart, we need to understand how the flow of the process will be done, and for that we require a Gantt chart, right? So FCFS, we have to use the first arrived process will be executed first. Simple. Now at the 0th time slot, at 0th position, the P1 process has arrived, isn't it? But there is a statement, there is a 1 unit of overhead in scheduling the process. That means at 0th position also, even if the P1 process has arrived in the ready queue, but still we cannot assign the CPU to that, right? So we have to keep this first unit slot blank. मतलब यहाँ पे कोई प्रोसेस अलोकेट सीपीयू को नहीं किया जाएगा. सो आफ्टर दिस वन टाइम यूनिट, द सीपीयू और द P1 process will get the access of CPU, and now P1 will be executing. For how much time? The burst time for the P1 is 3. So 1 plus 3 will be 4. Up to 4 unit time, the P1 process will be executing. So after 4, after completion of P1, now who will come into the execution? P2. P2 has arrived at 1, but this is the FCFS. So we don't need to care about the arrival time कि कौन से time में बीच में आया है, इधर तो 1 पे आया है, 2 पे आया है. No, we don't have to consider that one. We just have to check the sequence. So P2 आया है now. So after P1 execution, the P2 will continue. But again, before scheduling the P2, we have to keep the gap of 1 unit because of this statement. Overhead is scheduling the process, right? So after this, now we can assign the P2. The CPU can be assigned to the P2 process. And how much time it is executing? Up to 2 time slot. So 5 plus 2 will be 7. Again, there is a gap. So it is 8. Now the P3 will come. Now P3 will come, it will execute up to 1 time slot. So it will be 9. Now the next, what here यहाँ पे क्या आएगा? P4 process, right? After P3.
Yeah.
Next will be P4.
No, ma'am. 1 second delay.
Yes, there will be the overhead or the delay of 1 time slot. So 10. अब इसके बाद, after the completion of this overhead time, now the P4 will come into the CPU for the execution, and the total time required is 4. So 10 plus 4 will be 14. Again, before scheduling the next one, we have 1 time delay, so 15. Then we have P5, which will execute up to 20 according to the execution time. Then we have again the delay up to 21, and then the execution will continue for P6 up to 2, means 22 plus 2 will be 23. Do you get this Gantt chart?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Before scheduling any process, there is a overhead of 1 time unit slot. There is a delay of 1 unit slot, right? So we have to consider each and every time before scheduling the very first process also, right? Now here, if we calculate the useless time, or we can say here the wasted time, how many units are there which are wasted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, isn't it? So there are total 6 into 1, total 6 units are there which are wasted, and the total time consumed by this entire execution of each and every process is total 23 unit. आखिरी अगर आप देखोगे यहाँ पे तो 23 टाइम स्लॉट आ चुका है. So the total time required for this entire execution is 23 unit by considering this also. But from this, the only useful time slot is, यहाँ wasted निकाला है already हमने, so we can do 23 minus 6 unit time will be total 17 unit. Right? Actual useful execution time will be 17 time. Now what we have to calculate? Efficiency of the algorithm. Efficiency हमेशा हमें calculate की जाती है. How we can calculate? The useful time divide by total time. Simple example है. So 17 divided by 23 will be 0.7391. Find the efficiency of algorithm पूछा है, that means always you have to give the answer in percentage format, right? So 73.91% will be the efficiency of this particular algorithm for this given processes execution. Clear है? सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है, बट हमेशा की पैटर्न से थोड़ा सा अलग है, इसलिए थोड़ा सा डाउट आने की पॉसिबिलिटी है कि इसमें क्या करना है. सिंपली यू नीड टू कैलकुलेट द इफिशियंसी कि कैसे कितना यूज हो रहा है आपका और किस तरीके से हो रहा है, एंड फॉर दैट पर्पस यू नीड टू कैलकुलेट द वेस्टेड टाइम. कितना टाइम आपने सीपीयू को आइडल रखा था, वहां पे कोई प्रोसेस एग्जीक्यूशन में नहीं था, एंड हाउ मच टाइम एक्चुअली सीपीयू हैज executed the processes, and then we can calculate according to the received time slots, we can calculate the efficiency of that algorithm. Okay, so write down this one.
मैम वो एफिशिएंसी का सिंबल क्या है?
It's new बोलते हैं ना इसको, इस तरीके से.
Okay.
क्या बोलते हैं मैथ्स में, क्या बोलते हैं तुम लोग इसको?
पता नहीं.
New.
इसको ईटा बोलते हैं शायद.
क्या बोलते हैं जानवी, कौन बोल रहा है? हाँ ठीक है, तो हम भी वही बोलेंगे जो सबको भी याद है, कंफ्यूजन नहीं रहेगा. Done?
Yes, ma'am. Now the next is shortest job first scheduling, the next scheduling algorithm.
फर्स्ट देखा हमने, फर्स्ट कम फर्स्ट सर्व, सिंपल था बिल्कुल. But we have also discussed about the limitation or what is the disadvantage of FCFS. If any short execution process will arrive in the ready queue, and any process with the large execution time has already taken the access of CPU, then it will continue the execution till the long time, and throughout that particular time the very short execution time process have to wait outside, right? So it may possible the starvation of the process will happen. That will be the disadvantage of your first come first serve scheduling algorithm. Now that can be overcome by using the next algorithm type, shortest job first scheduling algorithm, which is also called as shortest next CPU burst algorithm. अब इसको next CPU burst algorithm क्यों कहते हैं? अब जैसे जैसे ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होगा आगे आपको समझ में आएगा. You will get the clear idea why we also called it as a shortest next CPU burst algorithm. Okay, but the main name of this algorithm is shortest job first scheduling algorithm. Fine. Now what is this algorithm? This algorithm associates with each process the length of the process's next CPU burst. What this statement is saying, the algorithm will be assigning the CPU to the process who is having the shortest next burst cycle. We are not saying here in this algorithm each and every process ka entire execution time will be considered. No, we are not considering the entire execution time of any process. We are only considering the next burst cycle. मतलब एक प्रोसेस में नंबर ऑफ थ्रेड्स रहते हैं, isn't it? तो उसका एक assumption किया जाता है. प्रैक्टिकली अगर देखा जाए तो किसी भी प्रोसेस का एक्चुअल एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम बिफोर द एग्जीक्यूशन अर्लियर पता रहना बहुत मुश्किल है. बट दिस इज द एंटायर वी कैन से कंसिडर्ड और assumption वाला algorithm है ये. किसके बेसिस पे? whatever the processes are executing, the assumption will be made according to their execution only. कि जितना इस प्रोसेस के इस वाले पार्ट को लगा एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम, इस थ्रेड के लिए लगा, उतना ही नेक्स्ट पार्ट के लिए भी लगेगा. इस तरीके का एक assumption किया जाता है. और वो इंडिविजुअल साइकिल जो रहेगा आपका उस प्रोसेस का, वो कंप्लीट होने में जितना टाइम लगेगा अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट assumption, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम और अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट बर्स्ट टाइम, the process or we can say the CPU will be allocated to that particular process. So when the CPU is available, it is assigned to the process that has the smallest next CPU burst. Okay, whenever the CPU will be available, before that we can say the analysis of that each and every process will be done. Okay, और जिस process का next burst cycle will be less, अगर हम कंपेयर करेंगे whatever the processes are available in the ready queue, the comparison will be done, and whoever is having the next burst cycle less timing, then that process will get the CPU access. Okay, if the next CPU burst of two processes are the same, then the FCFS scheduling is used to break the tie. Okay, what we are considering in this algorithm, इसका burst timing, execution time which will be given into the numerical. Okay, अगर numerical की हम बात करते हैं तो हम consider कर रहे हैं वहां पे कि execution time will be already given, and according to that we have to decide कि which process will get the access of your CPU, isn't it? Now what in the case where two processes will have the same execution time? So in that case this algorithm will not work. Okay, for those processes we will apply the FCFS scheduling algorithm. The process which has arrived earlier, that process will get the access of CPU. समझ में आ रहा है? तो उस केस में हम लोग FCFS वहां पे असाइन करेंगे. Now the SGFS algorithm can be either primitive or non-primitive. If you remember from the last session, I have already explained FCFS scheduling algorithm is which type of algorithm, primitive or non-primitive?
Non-preemptive.
Yes, exactly, non-primitive. What is the meaning of non-primitive? Once we are assigning the CPU to any process which has arrived earlier, no any other process can preempt that executing process. That next arrived process have to wait until the release of the resources and the CPU by the current executing process, right? So that is the non-preemptive. But preemptive is what? Any another higher priority process or any less executing time process will arrive in the ready queue, then the CPU will be allocated by preempting the current executing process, which is called as the preemptive processes or preemptive algorithms, right? So SGFS algorithm can be either preemptive or non-preemptive. फाइन, यहाँ तक समझ में आ रहा है, ओवरऑल आइडिया आ रहा है कि कैसे होगा SGFS. शॉर्टेस्ट जॉब फर्स्ट, बस नाम से आपको अच्छे से समझ के लेना है. The process which will have the shortest execution time, the shortest burst time, that process will get the access of CPU first. Fine, clear है यहाँ तक?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ. So now we will take one example for the non-preemptive SGF scheduling. Non-preemptive मतलब भले ही आपका कम execution वाला time बाद में आएगा, process will arrive, but still we have to complete the execution according to the arrival time only. क्योंकि preempt तो कर ही नहीं रहा है, तो हम burst time का ऐसे हम लोग पहले ही analysis करेंगे and we will decide कि कौन पहले जाएगा और कौन last में जाएगा, बस इतना ही. No one is preempting because it is already mentioned non-preemptive. बीच में कोई आके रोकेगा नहीं उसको, तो जैसे ही अराइवल टाइम होगा उस हिसाब से हम उसको और बर्स्ट टाइम का कंपैरिजन करके हम उसको क्या करेंगे, सीपीयू अलोकेट कर देंगे. नाउ चेक आउट द एग्जांपल. कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग सेट ऑफ प्रोसेसेस with the length of the CPU given in milliseconds, and the process ID is given P1, P2, P3, P4, and the burst time or execution time is given 6873. Now the first step in any scheduling algorithm will be to draw a Gantt chart. Right, so Gantt chart draw करना है. Now the arrival time is not mentioned here. Okay, यहाँ पे अभी इस example में arrival time नहीं दिया है. So we'll consider कि all the processes has arrived at the same time. जब भी आए हैं सब साथ में आए हैं ऐसा हम consider कर रहे हैं. Fine. So whenever they have arrived, now we are going to check who will go first, who will get the access of CPU. Now how we are assigning or how we are analyzing by using the execution time column, shortest job first. Now if we will analyze the burst timing of the process X, 6, 8, 7 and the 3. So the lowest burst timing is for P4. So at this zeroth moment, zeroth unit time, we can say that the P4 process will get the access of CPU. And how much time it will execute? 3. Right? And no one is going to preempt there. It is the non-preemptive scheduling algorithm, isn't it? So entire for 3 unit time, the P4 will be executing. Now after this, who will come? Now P4 has done 6, 8, 7. Who is having the least burst time? 6, 7, 8. The P1 is having the less. Yes, exactly. So now P1 will get the CPU access. And how much time it will execute? The entire 6 units. So total up to the 9 time slot, the P1 will be having the access of CPU. Fine. We know that even if नहीं, यहाँ पे अराइवल टाइम दिया ही नहीं है, so we are considering all the processes have arrived at the same time. Fine. So after this P1, P2 and P3 will be compared. P3 is having the less burst time. Now P3 will get the access of CPU. So P3 is having the burst time 7. So here up to 16, P3 will execute. After that, the P2 will come here up to 24, the P2 will be executing. Now if I will ask what will be the average waiting time and turnaround time. Turnaround time will be for P1, P2, P3, P4. How to calculate turnaround time? Completion time minus
arrival time.
Yes, arrival time. अभी arrival time तो हमने सबका 0 मतलब एक ही टाइम पे लिया हुआ है, right? तो क्या आएगा, कहाँ गया P1, यहाँ पे 9 माइनस इधर ही कर देती हूँ मैं. For P1 it will be 9, for P2 it will be 24, for P3 it will be, गलत हुआ, एक मिनट, बराबर है ना, कंप्लीशन टाइम माइनस अराइवल टाइम.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
हाँ, P2 का भी सही है, P3 का भी 16 and P4 will be 3, right? This is the turnaround time. Fine. And the waiting time will be turnaround time minus burst time. So here for P1, P2, P3 and P4, turnaround time minus burst time. So 9 minus 6 will be 3, 24 minus 8 will be कितना, 24 minus 8,
16.
right? 16 minus 7,
7, 9.
3 minus 3 will be 0. So ये हुआ इनका वेटिंग टाइम. ठीक है, अब वेटिंग टाइम का अगर मैं एवरेज निकालूं, सिर्फ वेटिंग टाइम का एवरेज बताओ. वेटिंग टाइम एवरेज 3 plus 16 plus 9 plus 0 डिवाइड बाय 4 कितना हुआ,
7.
7. Okay, 7 milliseconds, right? So by using the shortest job first scheduling with the non-preemptive algorithm, we required the average waiting time 7 milliseconds. Fine. Now suppose if I will calculate the average waiting time by using the FCFS algorithm, so we can compare whether the average waiting time for the SJF is less or not with the comparison of FCFS. तो बताओ फिर FCFS यूज करके FCFS शेड्यूलिंग. तो उस केस में क्या हुआ रहता, P1, P2, P3, P4 इस कंटिन्यू आते ना, फिर वहां पे सीक्वेंस चेंज नहीं रहता. गैन चार्ट विल बी डिफरेंट फॉर FCFS. 6, 8, 7, 3. So P1 will get the first access which will execute up to 6. Then P2 will be executed up to 14. Then P3 will be executing up to 21 and P4 will be executing up to 20.
24.
Right? So this will be the Gantt chart for same problem by using FCFS. अभी वेटिंग टाइम निकालना है फॉर दिस प्रोसेसेस, उसके लिए टर्न अराउंड टाइम निकालना पड़ेगा. बस चलो बताओ फटाफट, कंप्लीशन टाइम माइनस अराइवल टाइम. टर्न अराउंड टाइम बता दो फॉर P1. 6 is a completion time. सही जा रहे हैं क्या?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ. So turnaround time will be completion time minus the arrival time of the process. We are considering here all the processes have arrived at 0 time unit only. So completion time we can analyze by watching this Gantt chart itself. P1 has completed up at 6. So 6 minus arrival time is 0. So 6. 14 minus 0 will be 14. 21 minus 0 will be 21. 24 minus 0 will be 24. This is the turnaround time. How to calculate the waiting time? By turnaround time minus execution time. अभी यहाँ पे for P1 होगा 6 minus execution time कितना है 6. P2 के लिए 14 minus 8. P3 के लिए 21 minus 7. For P4 it is 24 minus 3. कहीं गलत जा रहा है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो पूछना. 6 minus 6 will be 0. बस मुझे ये प्लस माइनस फटाफट बताओ. 14 minus 8 will be
6.
6.
21 minus 7 will be
14.
24 minus 3 will be
21.
so if 6, 14 and 21 divide by 4 कितना आया इसका?
10.25.
Very good. 10.25 millisecond, right? This is the average waiting time, right? And if you can observe this one, by using SJF, we have calculated for the same processes, the calculated average waiting time is 7 milliseconds. And in the FCFS, we have 10.25 milliseconds. समझ में आया? How it is useful if we have short execution time processes, then each process doesn't need to wait for longer time. वहां पे उसका average waiting time जो है कम हो जाएगा by using the SJF process. और वही अगर आप primitive में जाते हो तो वहां पे और भी आपका फायदा रहेगा, because according to the if any process with the less burst time will arrive later also, then we can say that the previous executing process we can preempt, and the newly arrived less burst time process can take the access of CPU. Clear है? SJF समझ में आया?
Yes,
We will
ma'am.
take the example of
Yes,
primitive also, but before that just write down the non-primitive example. यहाँ पे ये problem लिख के लो और solve करो खुद से फटाफट 2 मिनट में. Then we will see the primitive example.